Okay, so this is my Titans Season 4, Episode 7 review. And let me just start off by saying I hate this Connor. I really, really hope he goes back to not necessarily the naive older Connor, but you can be wise and not be a fucking dick. So, with that out of the way, it basically starts off the way episode 6 ended. Sebastian finishes his transformation into Brother Blood, and now after this, he seems like in some ways he's still the timid Sebastian, like he hasn't completely, that maybe he's become powerful, but at the same time he's not completely turned into a bad guy. At least that's how it seemed. Maybe it's just the voice. When he isn't being forceful, when he's just talking normally, he just seems like he's unsure. But anyway, his mother informs him that their next task is to bring back his father, which is, of course, Trigon. And, so that's the last we see of them. Then we go to, well, most of the Titans, minus Gar. And, they all seem to be acting like the others were the ones who disappeared, rather than they're the ones who were sent somewhere else. And, of course, Connor and Dick fight because Connor has to be a dick. And, even when Connor is told that, yeah, we had a plan, everything was going fine until you decide to go do your own thing. And he still tries to find fault in that because, well, your plan didn't work. You're free, aren't you? Jackass. So I guess they're trying to do a very quick and dirty summary of how growth works. Human growth. The past few seasons, he was basically a baby and a child, just learning about the world. And now he's a fucking teenager. And no, I'm not a fan of teenagers. Yes, I dealt with my nephews when they were teenagers, but it was so few and far between that I didn't have a chance to get annoyed with the fact that they're teenagers. But anyway. So, Connor Connor sees something, and he retrieves this lockbox. And there's a book in there, which he briefly looks at, and then he finds a letter. And Lex, being Lex, decided that he's going to give that book to Dick because whom he calls Richard, who, because he's such a famous detective, such a big detective, let him detect. And I'm just like, okay, I see where Connor gets the dipshittery from, because yeah, seriously, they are so full of themselves that this is the way they treat someone like Dick. Anyway, so he reads that part and then says the rest is for him, which, okay, that's fine. I mean, that was his dad, even if they literally only met like the day before. So he saunters off, and it is amazing. It is so obvious. He just, starts walking back and keeps walking, and nobody notices at all that he walks away. So they decide that, Dick decides that he knows exactly who to ask about this language, because Corey says that this is old age, primitive Tamaran, so she can't really read it. So this human conspiracy theorist, she knows Tamaran better than Corey. Now, I get that. I mean, I wouldn't know Old English either, but I wouldn't be going to an alien to tell me how to read it. That was just so weird. Of course, they didn't have another Tamaran to do that, so I guess that's good. So they go to see this Roberta, and I swear she was high on coke or something. She was so jittery and so manic. It was... Can't have anything Batman adjacent without it going completely weird. And since we have Raven, yeah, it's gonna be weird. But anyway. So, first she sniffs Corey, because apparently there's this myth that Tamarans smell like sulfur. And Corey is like, what the hell is going on? And so she's like, are you really a Tamaran? And so she responds back to her, both speaking in Tamaran, well, I'm sure as shit not Klingon. Which I thought was hilarious, because when Dick first mentioned Klingon, that she speaks Klingon, I thought, are they canonizing Star Trek into this world? But no. No, they are not. They're just canonizing that Star Trek exists in this world, but not that it's a real life thing. So I found that amusing. Now, this is where Corey seriously annoys me. So Roberta is explaining the prophecy. And once again, Trigon wants to eat the world. And you could see it on Dick's face. He's like, Jesus Christ, this shit again? Didn't we deal with this once already? And she mentions that Corey is going to have to be the one to do it, to get rid of Trigon, and that it will change her. Which Corey has interpreted to mean she will die. This woman goes through more metamorphoses than a butterfly. It seems like every season something happens to Corey. But yeah, it's annoying that she assumed that means she's gonna die. No, that is literally not what she said. She said, you will be changed. Now, it could be that she just didn't want to say the obvious, but no, I don't think Corey is going to die. And we all know who's going to be the one who really has to bring down Trigon, which is Rachel. Now, hopefully, especially since it's the last season of the show, it would be awesome if Sebastian decided to, join forces with Rachel to take down his dad. But since he's right now trying to bring him back, who knows? And Corey, of course, is kicking herself that she didn't kill Sebastian when she had a chance. It's like, because you're a good person, Corey. You don't immediately see bad guy, must kill. You're not Connor. Well, this new Connor, because oh my god. Anyway, so they leave, and like I said, Corey is having a fit over the fact that she has to die in order to save the universe. And again, no, Corey, that is not what she said. I mean, I guess if you want to read between the lines, maybe, but I think that it's what she said. If Corey has to take on Trigon and destroy him, she will be changed. Not that she will die, but there will be some sort of transformation. Maybe she'll get the orange energy that Roberta was expecting. I don't know. But anyway, I mean, because she's already gone through changes thanks to her parents fucking with both her and her sister's powers. Because they've decided, that, firstborn obviously has to have these powers and all that shit. Anyway. So they go off. Roberta gives them coordinates, and Rachel is talking to her over Zoom. And she's like, well, why can't I go and help them look for this? Because you're the daughter of Trigon, you might activate the horn. Which, she's right. I mean, the idea is to not activate the horn, so that makes sense. So there's nothing there. Just a field. Connor, in the meantime, went to some, I guess, safe house or something. And the woman who tortured Connor and Gar is standing there. And he, of course, remembers this because Connor doesn't have the memory of a gnat. And basically it's like, why should I listen to you? You did this to me and Gar. So obviously he still cares about his friends, even though he's being a massive dick. So she's giving him information, and she's trying to tell him that, oh yeah, you're too good for the Titans. You don't want to give this information to them or anything. And now I've got two minds of this. Well, actually three. So he could possibly continue to be a dick and try to do things his way. That's the first thing. Or there could be two separate reasons as to why he will give this information to the Titans, or in this case, Tim and Bernard. Number one, like Dick pointed out, he went off on his own and he got his ass captured. So the Titans had to go from the plan that they had to having to scrap that to save his ass. So that might be a reason why or just the fact that the woman standing in front of him tortured him and tortured Gar. So he might just simply be willing to give this information to the Titans simply to give a fuck you to her. So two very good reasons. One, a very logical reason. One a bit more childish, but still a valid reason. Don't trust the lady who tried to, turn you into a killing machine. But, and that's the last we see of Connor in this episode. So they're all driving, and Tim wants to drive with Bernard. Because they stop at the location and Bernard finds them. Because he was tracking the bus. I know they call it an RV, but it looks like a bus. And Dick is like, wait, you were tracking us? And I'm just like, Really, Dick? This surprises you? Remember who he is. Come on. And, so he, so Tim wants to travel with Bernard, and this comes back to this conversation he had with Rachel, which Rachel's trying to convince him to talk to his dad because his dad texted him. And he's like, but this is all so weird. I don't even understand. How am I going to explain that? Just tell him you're okay. I mean, you don't have to go into details until later. And he's like, well, I guess I should text my mom back too. And Rachel's like, oh my God. But they also discuss that Rachel is never happy. First, she wanted to get rid of her powers because, she had to be a total goth in order to keep her powers in check. Then she lost her powers. Then she was missing her powers when she lost her powers. Now her powers are back, but just slightly different. And now she's missing the dark part of it. This woman is never happy. I mean, seriously, chick. What is wrong with not having that brooding side of you? It's perfectly fine. Yeah, she was annoying me only second to Connor because Connor is so far gone annoying me, but so they're Bernard and Tim are tailing the bus, and before they got in, Bernard's like, maybe we should just be friends. And you can see neither one of them are happy with this situation, but because Tim was being a total dum and not texting back Bernard either because he doesn't understand what's going on. So he's decided that he's not going to let anybody know what's going on. Okay, fine, you don't have to go into details, but yeah, the thing that Rachel told you to do, that's coming back to bite you in the ass because Bernard doesn't want to be dating you because you're not replying to him when he's like, oh, I don't know, worried about what's happening. Because unlike your parents, Bernard has some idea what's going on. So they're trailing them, and then suddenly they disappear. They drive into Call's Folly, but they don't realize, the guys in the bus do not realize that anything magical happened. It's just Bernard and Tim that noticed it because they just suddenly disappeared. And so now they spend the episode trying to find them. And Tim is breaking Bernard's equipment trying to find them. Can't say I blame him, but think about this for a moment. Bernard is even asking for maps. But just think about this for a moment. Especially, now Bernard doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't know that it's magical and concerns Rachel. But Tim does. Tim knows somewhat what's going on. He knows it's a magical component because they have to stop Brother Blood and Mother Mayhem. And Rachel is the key, and he knows that they have magic. So he knows it's magic based. Why in the world does he think that this doesn't have a magical component? Because at least in this world, it doesn't seem like it's the explanation that magic is just science that's so in such a high level that it seems like magic. It seems like magic really exists. So why are you trying to use science to find magic? But anyway, so they decide to, stay at a hotel, and the clerk is so sweet. He gives them adjoining rooms because he has them 1 or 2 rooms. 2. And he gives them adjoining rooms. And you could see it on their faces. They're like, So they have some cute moments, but this was both cute and cringe at the same time. So Tim makes the first move after a while where they're both just sitting on the bed. And I'm just like, really? I mean, come on. And they're staring at the doors because that's what you do when you're in a hotel room. So then Tim, like I said, makes the first move by opening the adjoining door and unlocking his. And so then Bernard finally unlocks his, and Tim decides to check himself out and, I don't know, he thinks that he can buff himself up in those few seconds that it takes him to. And Bernard's just expecting him to open the door or something, and nothing. Tim finally goes through the door. And then they make out because they decide they don't just want to be friends. So, yeah. And while this is going on, the three of them, Rachel, Corey, and Dick, go to a diner where they are playing 70s music. And they notice that Tim and Bernard didn't follow them, but they just shrug it off. But they do acknowledge that it's strange, but they just shrug it off. So they go into this diner, and there's this very jittery waitress. So I thought, oh, she's probably afraid of Trigon. And so she doesn't want to have anything to do with whatever it is that Trigon is planning. Or Mother Mayhem, I guess, is possible too, and turned out I was kind of, sort of right. So she tells them, Dick asks, what's good here? And, Call's Folly are known for these 2 things. And one is this thing called date shake. So she brings them date shakes. And turns out that the date shakes are drugged. Now, first off, we didn't see Dick really sipping much on the date shakes. First off. But apparently this drug only affects aliens. So Corey and Dick notice that their RV is being ticketed because it's too big and isn't allowed into the city. So Corey's like, okay, fine, I'll drive it to outside of the outskirts of the city. But she can never leave. Every time she tries, it's like does this really trippy thing where the sign, and I thought at first it had something to do with the drug. When we found out that she's been drugged, because she's not feeling well, I thought that's probably it. So even though she went and got Dick, it's going to turn out Dick's not going to see this. But no, it's discovered that, no, we can't leave Call's Folly. So they're trying to figure out, okay, what's going on. And Dick decides to meet up with this sheriff who said that, he'll meet up with him and he'll, help him out. And in the meantime, In the meantime, Rachel follows Megan, and she sees a guy being, what looked like it could be an abusive situation, and she scares him off. And she finally succumbs to the drug. Megan catches her, and when she wakes up, she's hogtied. Well, not quite hogtied, but her hands are tied behind her back, and she's lying on what looks like a bed. And Megan has a shotgun at her, which at first I'm like, really? You really think that's going to do anything? Until she mentions to Rachel that her magic doesn't work there. Why the holy hell would Mother Mayhem create a magical city where Rachel or their powers won't work? Because I assume if Rachel's powers doesn't work, neither does theirs. But anyway, so they were explaining how they're so sure that Dick is the son of Trigon. Because he must be, because the prophecy specifies son of Trigon. And so they're like, yeah, he's the son of Trigon. And, okay, so how come the drug didn't work on him? So Megan believes her that she's the daughter of Trigon and that she's the good guy and that they're going to help them. Now, my question about them is, Rachel said that the reason they were able to get through the barrier is because she is the daughter of Trigon. Which makes me wonder, what about the rest of the people in the town? Now, I do know some of them are followers. The sheriff and the deputies proved that. But what about Megan and her father? They want to get the hell out of the town. So either they were followers at one point and they aren't anymore and they're just trapped. Because I would love to know, if it takes the daughter of Trigon to get in there, then how did these people get in here? Especially if Megan and her father want out. So, I don't know, was it an accident that they got in there? Or, like I said, that they were initially followers and then just gave up on that. So they're telling Rachel, what will happen if they find out that Dick is not the son of Trigon, and that they'll kill him. Now, based on what happened to Dick, I think they figured out pretty early on that he's not the son of Trigon because, well, Corey was drugged and he wasn't. So he goes to the sheriff's office, and I was really expecting Rachel to do a last-minute save or something. But he goes to the sheriff's office, and there's no sheriff to be found. And when he does call out to Dick, he goes, "Oh, there you are." And he's like, "Oh, I see you made yourself at home." And he's like, "The door was open." "Yeah, but the cabinet wasn't." It's like, have you ever heard of locking the cabinet? I mean, Dick comes in there and there's literally nobody around. He thinks it's very odd that there's nobody around when he's supposed to meet the sheriff. So, of course, he starts digging to see if he can't figure out what's happening. That's actually reasonable. Now, if he knew that the sheriff was there, if the sheriff had, I don't know, said something to him, it's like, "Oh, I'll be out in a minute" or something, then Dick wouldn't have probably snooped. Maybe he still would have, but you don't know that. You just know that he had reason to suspect that something weird is happening, and where's the sheriff? Because at this point, he didn't think that the sheriff was a follower of Trigon. So, I honestly thought that when they started attacking Dick that, oh yeah, Dick's gonna make short work of them. And especially at first when they tried tasing him and it didn't work, I thought, okay, he's gonna wipe the floor with them, and no. So he gets carted out, gets dragged out, and it's very weird that there are sirens going off, and there's what looks like a huge amount of people, and you're like, wait a minute, what? It's not like they were making that much noise. What? Why are all these people there? Why are there sirens blaring? And it just was so weird. And you see Mother Mayhem and Brother Blood before Dick passes out. So now that's how it ended. So now we have to get to the horn before Brother Blood and Mother Mayhem do, which, well, Dick is down for the count, so they have to first save Dick. Then they have to stop them from getting the horn. And then if they manage to escape Call's Folly, they also have to bring along Megan and her father, who don't want to have anything to do with this town. So, yeah. Oh, yes, and they also have to figure out what the hell happened with Gar. I was so invested, I almost forgot about Gar. Because they all know that Gar is the reason that they're in that place. That Gar was talking to them while they were being transported. And Rachel even said that it was the death dimension, I think she called it. Dark dimension, I don't know. But that Gar was the reason that they went through it. So they know that they passed through a realm, but yet they're still acting like they're not the ones who disappeared, that everybody else around them did. It was just strange. But now they know that they're still alive and that they're in so much trouble. So, since, like I said, Rachel cannot use her powers, it's going to be interesting to see how they rescue Dick. And I really get the feeling that Connor is going to find a way in, because alien, and that he's going to probably be the one to rescue all of them. And that he's not going to do what that lady wants him to do and keep all the information to himself. Because again, either he realizes that he done goofed up the first time, or just simply because he wants nothing to do with the woman who tortured him. So yeah, I'm thinking it's gotta be Connor, because, I mean, who else could, I guess it could be that Tim and Bernard somehow figure out how to make it through magic, and that Tim is the one who ultimately saves everybody. I guess that's a possibility too. But since I don't know how long Rachel, I don't know how long she was out. So it's possible that somehow Rachel and Corey can save Dick still. It'll be interesting, especially since, like I said, like was mentioned, Rachel is the daughter of Trigon. So who knows how this is going to play out. With that, I will see you guys next time.